Hello everyone, and welcome to part one of how to be okay with what's happening now. My name is Brian, and I've been teaching yoga and meditation for over 35 years, and I'd like to share with you some of the insights, wisdom, and techniques that have been shared with me by several enlightened masters that I've been blessed to be with over the years. This knowledge has helped me to feel more relaxed and present, even as the world around me swirls in confusion, animosity, conflict, and even self-destruction. Through this and the next 5 sessions, it is my intention to offer a methodology by which you can remain calm and centered, regardless of what's going on around you. Certainly, it's not an easy task, and no one, except for the fully enlightened master, can truly achieve anything like perfection in this endeavor. Yet, little by little, we find that we can reduce our reactivity and, even better, stop reacting in a way that upsets us and in turn leads us to upset other people around us. We experience emotional discomfort and mental confusion when we get triggered by events that we don't like. We react with feelings like anger, fear, anxiety, sadness, jealousy, false pride, and depression. For example, let's say that my beloved dog growls at me. What? I'm shocked. Herbie? I react by yelling at Herbie, and then my wife reacts by yelling at me for yelling at him. It's common for us to blame these reactions on stress. But what is stress? I define it as the difference between how you want life to be and the reality of how life actually is. That's pretty simple, right? I know that right now, each of you could immediately think of something in your life that is stressing you out because it's not the way you want it to be. The fact is, we have many of these issues that we've stored in our unconscious mind over the years. How silly is it that we think life should unfold on our terms? But we do. Like every day, all the time, right? But people, places, and things are not the problem. The problem is our unmet desires and expectations of how things should be. In this first program session, I'll talk about what meditation is, how it can help reduce our reactivity, and experience life in a calmer and more relaxed way. In future sessions, we can go deeper in exploring our internal environment, developing new insights and skills to help us respond to circumstances instead of reacting to them. So let's talk about how to reduce the stress. Now that'll be the last time that I use the air quotes, as long as we all understand that the term is really a reference to our resistance to how life is unfolding, okay? This program is about meditation, but what actually is meditation? The word itself doesn't refer to any specific technique, but a general concept that people have of sitting quietly contemplating something. In the 1960s and 70s, when the American public first became aware of yoga and meditation, there was quite a bit of disdain for the practices. And as our culture is often to do, people were making fun of it. And meditation was sarcastically referred to as navel gazing. Personally, I have no idea where they got that concept. It's pretty easy to gaze at someone else's navel, but it's not so easy to gaze at your own. So, I don't know. Now, here in the 21st century, the excessive busyness of life and the negative effect that has on our health has brought meditative techniques into the mainstream. A regular meditation practice improves mental and emotional health and improves performance in sports, effectiveness on the job, and our ability to be present with our loved ones. There's even scientific research to prove it. However, the word meditation is not clearly defined. It's more of a concept, and there are hundreds of different meditation techniques. There are techniques where your eyes are open, where your eyes are closed, when you're sitting, lying down, eating, walking, moving, still, dancing, listening, indoors, outdoors. So you can see that what we're talking about is an inner experience that is not dependent upon what we are doing when we have that experience. In my understanding, meditation is not something you do. There are meditative techniques that we perform, but meditation is a state of being that occurs given the right circumstances. In many ways, it's like sleep. You can't actively say, okay, now I'm going to do sleep. You need to set the stage for sleep to happen. Meditation is very much like this. So what is this state of being that we call meditation? It's a happening where the experience of our everyday waking state and our sense of individuality and ego are no longer in the foreground of our awareness. I'll repeat that. It's a happening where the experience of our everyday waking state and our sense of individuality and ego are no longer in the foreground of our awareness. We experience a markedly different state that cannot easily be described in words, but has qualities like stillness, luminance, expansiveness, non-locality, non-physicality, and timelessness. Again, this is something that happens. It's not something that we can do. We can only set the stage for it to occur. In fact, the harder we try, the less likely it is to happen. Many of us have had spontaneous experiences like this that occurred seemingly at random. I'd like to give you a little background about where my personal perspective comes from. My study of the science of yoga and learning from yoga masters, Buddhist monks, swamis, and gurus had given me a great deal of intellectual knowledge of the working of the mind and the nature of the true self. My devotion to the practices has led to my having direct experience of what I'm describing. Now, I'd like to establish some vocabulary around meditation and the concepts that the words convey. They probably will be foreign to most of you, but there's just a few that I think are important at this point. Written starting in 200 BCE, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras describes an 8-limbed system of classical yoga. 3 of these limbs describe the process and the experience of meditation: pratyahara, dharana, and dhyana. Now, if you're feeling a little uneasy about having to learn Sanskrit to participate in this program, don't worry about it. We are not going to go there. I just find it helpful to use specific terminology to describe specifically what we are talking about. For thousands of years, the Indian culture has studied, explored, and reported on the nature of the mind and developed excellent terminology. Pratyahara, the 5th limb of this system, refers to directing our normally outward flowing attention inwards, withdrawing our attention from the sense objects of the outer world. Dharana, the 6th limb, means contemplation or concentration, directing your focused attention on your breath, a candle flame, a sound, a thought, or a mantra. A mantra is a word or phrase that evokes the beneficial qualities that we seek to identify with. In yoga, mantras are often Sanskrit prayers or phrases that most often invoke the presence of God in his many forms. I find mantras to be very powerful, and they don't have to be in Sanskrit or be given to you by a guru. Dhyana, the 7th limb, refers to the meditative state itself, the experience of inner peace, calm, and wholeness that transcends our experience of everyday waking consciousness. I venture to guess that all of you have experienced this at some point in your life. Maybe you were watching a sunrise or a sunset, or you saw the sun shining through the clouds in a particularly majestic way. It's also common to have that experience when relaxing into the embrace of a loved one. I would bet that you can all relate to that, the feeling of loving support, of connection, of letting go into the moment. It may be brief, but at that time, you are in a state of dhyana. Get it? And do you know it's possible for you to experience that in every moment? It sounds like a lofty goal, but the masters say that it is actually quite easy and available to anyone, even without practicing meditation. And I have met individuals that has happened to. But most of us that have had moments of enlightenment quickly fall back into the habitual way of thinking, acting, and being. What we will be working on together is staying awake and aware of our true nature, which is boundless, timeless, and divine. So to recap, pratyahara means withdrawal of the senses. Dharana means concentration and contemplation. And dhyana refers to the inner experience of the meditative state. And mantra refers to a word or phrase with a positive connotation. I hope you found this information helpful, and it may yield great benefits as you travel the path of personal evolution. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and for giving me the opportunity to share with you that which has been so generously shared with me. Namaste. Or in other words, tell your soul, my soul says hi.